obey the nudge and you stay obedient. He has been interning under me at Momentum Church over the last 2 years. He has stayed faithful and obedient to the calling put on his life. He is one of the middle school leaders at our church, one of the young adults in our ministry. I would like to welcome to the stage tonight, Mr. Chase Galat.
Thank you, sir. What up, everybody? So who had a good day at camp? So I'm a little partial to the pink team. We're doing really good. We're going to come back tomorrow. Black team, impressive today, I was pretty impressed. Y'all did really good. But don't get too comfortable on top. My pink team's coming for you. So we're coming. Let's go. So, I am blessed, and thank you, Jimmy, for giving me the opportunity to speak here tonight. These lights are really bright, and I would love to see your faces during this. So, if y'all don't mind, I'm going to sit down right here like Jimmy did earlier, so we have kind of more of an intimate moment, so I can see your faces and I can talk to you. Is that all right? Yeah, let's go. All right. Well, that's better. Y'all have some beautiful faces and beautiful smiles. I'm so proud to be here. So, today I'm going to be talking from a story in the Old Testament. It's found in Daniel 3, and it's about this kingdom of Babylon. So in this kingdom of Babylon, there's this king. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce this at first because it's a really crazy name. We're going to put it on the screen. Yeah, that's the name, guys. I think it's, yeah, something like that. I'm hearing a lot of Chad. So, I think we're gonna just call him King Chad, okay? Y'all good with that? Okay, so this King Chad guy. Yeah, so he's the king. If you were a king, would you think you were pretty cool? So this guy thinks he is the guy. He's like, I am him. He's going around like, I am him. He's prideful, he's arrogant, he thinks he's the best person in the entire world. So what does he do about it, right? If you were really cool and you knew you were the coolest person in the whole world, what would you do? Well, this guy decides that he's going to build a giant statue of himself. And so y'all know the Statue of Liberty? It's like that big one, the big green one in New York. It's 121 feet tall. So this statue that he built is supposed to be around 100 feet tall. So he was like, I am going to build this giant statue of me. But so the Statue of Liberty is green, right? It's not very cool. So he built this. Yeah, y'all can laugh. Anyways. He was so proud of himself that he decided he was going to build this statue out of all of the most precious metals in the world. So he used gold, and he used silver, and he used bronze, all the gold metal colors. And then he was like, and I'll throw in some iron just for good measure. And he built this super tall statue. So, who in here likes to be told what to do? I see one hand, and that is kind of odd. Nobody likes to be told what to do. You like to do your own thing, right? So he built this big statue, and he makes this law. He's like, you guys all have to worship me and my statue. Every time he blows the horn, everyone has to bow down and worship him. Yeah, I wouldn't like that, would you? So this guy, everyone's scared of him because he's the most powerful man in the world. So everyone bows down. But there are these 3 men who don't. Their names are also very weird, so we're going to do the thing again. The first guy's name, Shadrach. Yeah, we're going to call him Rack, though, because I don't want to say the full name. You want to call him Ranch? Okay, well, let's call him Ranch. Okay, Ranch it is. So this is the first guy, and he has a couple friends. We got Meshach. If y'all don't know, that's Shaquille O'Neal, and he goes by Shaq. So we're just going to call this guy Shaq because it's kind of a thing. And then they have a third friend, and his name is Abednego, I think. Yeah, so we're going to call him Benny because I couldn't really find a name in there, but I decided I was going to go with Benny. Ben? Bed's not a name? No, we're going to call him Benny, okay? Benny it is. Okay, so there's something special about these three men. These three men are what's called a Jew. So Jews believe in the one true God, the God that I believe in, the God that all your leaders believe in. And this God that we believe in the Old Testament, there's this guy named Moses that God talks to one-on-one, and God gives him all of his laws so that we can have them to live by. And in Exodus 24, y'all can read this with me. Oh, 4 and 5, that's crazy. Y'all can read this with me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. So that's one of the laws. That's one of the first 10 laws that God gave his people. And what this king is asking them to do is directly against this law. Because this law says, do not worship anything on the earth, right? We're only to worship God. So they don't want to sin. They don't want to sin against God. So they didn't bow. That was that. They didn't bow, and then the king was like, wait, you're not going to bow down to me? I'm the guy. So he tells them that if they don't bow down, he's going to put them to death by a fiery furnace. Does anybody know what a fiery furnace is? It's that thing. It's like this big doors you open, and there's a bunch of fire in there. And it looks very painful, doesn't it? Yeah, that does not look fun to me. So, let's see. So the king is like, if you guys don't bow down, he gives them another chance. He says, if you guys don't bow down, I'm going to put you in this fiery furnace. And here's what their response was. In Daniel 3, 17 and 18, it says, if this be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. They didn't say he will save us. They said our God is able to save us. So they were willing to put their life down so that they wouldn't sin against God. It was kind of a death or death situation because sin is death, but death is death, right? And fiery furnace is a painful death. It's a slow death. It is not fun. But they would rather have that painful death than die to God in sin. And this answer that they gave, it enraged the king. He was like, are you kidding me, right? So here's what he did. He turned up the fire even hotter than it was planned to be. He turned it up 7 times hotter. He turned it up so hot that when the guards tied up these 3 men, what were their names again? Anybody know? Ranch, Benny, and Shaq. Yep, those are the 3. Good job. Let's go. So, these 3 men were tied up and they were put in the fire. And it was so hot that the guards who threw them in the fire burned on the spot. It was that hot. But then something really cool happened. The king watches these men go into the fire, and he looks and he's like, wait, actually, let me get that picture up again. So y'all see how there's 4 people in the fire, right? Right. So, later. So this king, he has seen the same thing. This is what he's seen, but in person, so it's even crazier, right? And he's like, wait, did I throw 3 or 4 men into that fire? And his servants were like, you threw 3 in, man. And then he was like, whoa. So then, yeah, that was funny. So then he calls out these men, and he's like, y'all come out. I want to see what's going on. So they walk out, and there's just three. And he was like, was there not a fourth with you? And they were like, our God came and saved us because he is able and he came down. So then, after that, the king was amazed at this. He was like, your God loves you so much that he saved you from death? From death. Yeah. So the king was so amazed that he then believed in the one true God, and he took away his law, and he made a new law that everyone should respect the God of the Jews. Now that's pretty cool. So that's a story in the Bible, and there's a lot of stories like that in the Bible, so maybe we should read our Bibles more because that is pretty darn cool, right? But I had maybe three or four-ish main takeaways that I want to talk about from this story. So the first one is to be strong. Don't be afraid to take a stand. Even if it's the most powerful man in the world, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. See, in this story, it's about their faith. It's about standing up for the God they believe in because they don't want to sin against their God. But there's a lot of other situations in your life where you can stand up for yourself, where you can stand strong. And, okay, let's think about it. Let's give an example. So, who in here has a bedtime? Okay, so let's just say, just a generalization. Let's say your bedtime's 9, right? Is that too late? Yes. 8? 7:30? Am I hearing 7:30? 10 does not sound right. Okay, we're gonna go with 8. Let's say your parents, who God has put over you, gives you a bedtime of 8 o'clock, right? And you go to the sleepover. Do y'all do sleepovers yet? Yes. Okay. So, yeah, that's true. So we're at this sleepover, and you know that you're supposed to go to bed at 9. Or 8. Sorry, 8. And 7:45 rolls around. And you're like, oh, man, I know if my parents were here, they would want me to go to sleep, right? They want me to start getting ready for bed, brush my teeth. Please brush your teeth. Take a shower. All those things. But then your friends are still out there. They're playing video games. They want to go outside, play hide and seek. Those kind of things. What do? Do you stand up for yourself and your values that you have, or do you go with your friends, right? That's where the question comes. So I'm saying that you need to be strong, that this story tells us to be strong and to not sacrifice our values or what's right. So if that didn't really get the point across, who in here likes food? Yeah, me too. I know after what happened today, the food today, you might not like food anymore. But, okay, so I'm gonna make a little thing. So let's say, no one answered yet. If you had to pick between Chick-fil-A and McDonald's, right? Who in here would pick Chick-fil-A? That is a lot of hands. Who in here would pick McDonald's? Okay, that is a lot less hands. Okay, so let's say one of these McDonald's lovers is the king. And they say, every time you have to eat either McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, you have to pick McDonald's. How would you Chick-fil-A'ers feel? Yeah. Right. So, okay. That was a lot of reaction. So, I'm kind of hearing that y'all would still stand up and want your Chick-fil-A, right? You'd be strong about your food opinions, your food preferences. Right? So if you're going to stand strong about your food preferences, why not about your faith values and what God has instilled in you? Right? Okay, so that's the first point. Pretty strong point, right? Be strong. Okay. Anyways, second point is to find friends. Not just any friends. Friends with the same values. Friends who will stick up with you, that will do all the things with you. See, what were the names again? Ranch. I'm really bad at this. So, Ranch, Benny, and Shaq, right? Okay. So, they were all willing to die instead of bow down because they had each other, right? So, it made it easier. So let's say a sleepover. Go back to the sleepover. So if you have friends that have the same values, that also want to respect their parents and respect your parents, will it be easier to go to sleep if everyone else is going to sleep? Right, so surround yourself with friends who are going to make it easier to stay strong. So I have a really cool cabin this week. So I want my cabin members to come here for a second. Yep. Oh, look at y'all all in the front row. I like it. I love it. Okay, so Sterling, can you sit right here? Crisscross applesauce. Perfect. Now, be strong. Lean your head forward a little bit, right? Okay, so no matter how hard he tries, right, I can just tip him over, right? He just fell down. But let's say he has these friends. Y'all crisscross applesauce like you did earlier. Come on. Let's do it. Okay, now lock your arm. Perfect. Great job, guys. Okay, y'all got it. So now when I try to tip them over, right, they can't move because they have each other and they're all staying strong together. Hey, give up a hand for them. Let's go. Thank you guys so much. You did great. Good job. Let's go. You can go back to your seat. Yep. So, as y'all saw, when they stood stronger together, it was harder to knock him down, right? When he was on his own, I could just barely tap him and he'd fall over. But when they're all together, no matter how hard I try, they won't fall down. So find yourself friends like that who will stand strong with you and those strong values. Okay, and now we have the third thing that I saw in this. And this one's really cool. It's that God can do it. Yeah. Good reading. Let's go. So, when we are faithful to God, faithful just means to trust God and to be there for him, to stand strong. God can do the miraculous. We give him the platform to come through for us like he did for our boys. So, Ranch, Shaq, and Benny, they stood, thank you, they stood strong together, they trusted God, and then he saved them. So that's pretty cool. God did the unthinkable. He came through for them in a way that makes no sense. They went into the fire, and they were not burnt at all. They were perfectly fine because God saved them. Yeah, not even their hair. So that's a miracle. That's God doing the unthinkable. I have a miracle in my own life. So let's think. So there was this one time where I'd just gotten my braces on. So let's say 6th grade. And I went to Tallahassee with my family because there was an FSU football game. Big FSU fan, by the way. Yeah, go Noles. So after the football game, they had just won. We were all celebrating. We were happy. And me, my brother, and my cousin, we all love baseball. So we all got our gloves. We got a couple of baseballs, and we went out into the field behind our condo. And it was getting dark. Probably not a great idea to play catch. And not only were we playing catch, we set up in a triangle, and we were throwing 2 balls at the same time. So you'd throw a ball to this guy, and you'd catch a ball from this guy at the same time. So that's one thing in the light, right? In the dark, not great. And for me, it didn't work out because my brother is now committed to play D1 baseball as a sophomore, and my cousin walked on to FSU to play baseball. Me, I'm just playing golf, so not really the baseball guy in the family. So I threw it to my cousin. It was a good throw. I looked over. Well, I was probably looking at my throw because it was so good. And I looked over, and I was like, oh, crap, there's a ball right in the mouth. Not good. So the ball hits me in the mouth. I fall down on the ground, cry like a little baby because that's what I was. And my brother runs inside, gets my parents. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on the field, bloody mouth, crying. Yeah, not good. So we go inside, we try to clean it up a little bit, and we see that the 2 bottom teeth are flat in my mouth. And I had just gotten braces. So all I was thinking about was like, uh-oh, that's a lot of money, right? Just mess it up, not good. And my mom was amazing. She was like, it's okay, honey. You're going to be all right. Money's not an issue here. And I was like, thanks, Mom. So don't. Anyways, we looked in the mirror before bed after cleaning it all up, brushed the teeth that I had left in my mouth, and my mom was like, let's pray that God can do something cool. Let's trust God to fix your mouth. So we prayed for God to do a miracle in my life. And then I went to sleep. And while I was sleeping, I had this dream. And in this dream, I saw the hand of God, these two fingers, go into my mouth, grab these two teeth, and pull them right back into place. Yeah, that's a dream. Luckily, I didn't feel it. So it was a dream, right? And I woke up and I was like, cool dream, cool dream. My mom wakes me up. The first thing I say when I wake up is, Mom, I think God healed me. So my mom opens my mouth, and sure enough, my teeth are perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Because we trusted God, and we prayed to God, and we asked him to do what we know he can do, and then he came through and he healed me. It's pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. So, those are the three things. Be strong, find friends with values, and trust God. God can do it. Yes. Yes. So these steps change the world. So, in my teeth story, we had called the dentist the night before because we were like, oh no, these braces are bad. We're going to need to come in tomorrow. And the dentist was like, yes, please. We sent him pictures and everything. He was like, you need to come in tomorrow. Then we called him the next morning. We were like, yo, man, we're good. God healed me. And the dentist was like, are you sure? And he made me send him a picture. He didn't believe me. And then he was like, well, dang, that's pretty cool. I don't know if this guy believed in God, but he got to see something that God did, right? He got to see how cool God was. And I don't go to the same dentist anymore, but I'm sure that it probably had an impact on him of some sort. In the story of the Bible, right? The King Chad, it was, he saw this miracle. He saw God save these men, right? And he saw them walk out, and then he believed. It changed the entire world. The most powerful man in the world came to Christ. And then he made a law to respect God. To respect God. So it changed the entire world. It let people believe in God. It let people worship God. Yeah. So, we're going to wind down a little. We're just going to recap. Be strong. Let's be strong, you know? Be strong. Find friends so that you can stay strong. Yep. God can do it. Believe in God for the miraculous. And then watch how he changes the world. Through you. Just by believing in him. So think about that. And we're going to pray. Dear God, I thank you for this day. I thank you that we were all able to come to this amazing camp. I thank you for Jimmy and Steve for putting this camp on, for all the people behind the scenes. I pray that this message touched hearts, that it set in. I thank you for using me in a mighty way and giving me this platform. I pray that all these kids have a great rest of their camp, and I love you, God. Thank you so much. Amen.